Hi, this is Paul. Welcome to my spoilers review of Black Panther. I saw it today this morning at 11:15 with a packed house and thoroughly enjoyed it. My non-spoiler reviews is on my main channel, Trade Passer. If you want to check that out before you see this one, before head over and follow the link in the description box to my main channel, Trade Passer, and you can see my spoiler-free review of Black Panther. This review is going to have spoilers in it, so be forewarned. Okay, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Okay. Anyway, this movie is basically takes place after the events of Civil War, where T'Challa, comes back home and he's assuming the mantle, of Black Panther. And there's this nice elaborate ceremony that he has to go through, which is really incredible. And I like they delve into the Wakanda culture and stuff, and I think they even have a little prologue in the beginning of the movie where they tell you about how these tribes in Wakanda came together as one tribe went their own separate way. Okay, but they all these four other tribes came together in Wakanda, which was, I think they even said that they showed it that I think a meteor hit in Wakanda with the vibranium, and that's where they build the technology and stuff, and they keep the world hidden from the outside world. Okay, and that's just the tradition. And again, what I loved about this movie is that they go into the culture of Wakanda and stuff, and they give you the history and stuff, and I think the actors do a great job with it. Again, Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, I think he did a really good job because his character has to be real, so he can't really show that much emotion. There are moments when he does, but there's a lot of moments where he can't. He has to be, he has to be the king, so he can't be all emotional and stuff. But I think Chadwick Boseman is just one of the best actors out there today. He owns the role of T'Challa, Black Panther, and I loved him in Civil War. I loved him in this, so I can't wait. As far as the other actors are concerned, Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia. She plays a childhood friend of T'Challa, and of course, love interest as well in this. And you can tell that they love each other and stuff. But she wants to advance her people, the Wakandan people. She wants to reach out to the outside world, and he's kind of hesitant about it because that's not the Wakanda way. They keep things hidden, but she wants to explore stuff. And they even show like in the beginning of the movie, she's like an undercover mission, which he interrupts to save her, and it's really just. I like their chemistry. They have good chemistry together because not only does she love him, of course, and she gives him advice. She's a friend to him, and she gives him advice and she is his ally in the movie a lot, and which really I like the way their relationship plays out in this movie. And of course, Danny Guerrero as Okea. She's the Dola. I forgot how you pronounce the bodyguard groups, the female bodyguards for the Black Panther. She's the head one, and she's like an annoying big sister to T'Challa and stuff. Of course, you see that in the trailer. She tells, "Don't freeze." And she's just absolutely fantastic. Danny Guerrero, she's just a really good actress, and I love her here. And she's fierce. Everything you think a bodyguard would be. She's fierce, loyal, and protective, and she is great. And I love her chemistry with T'Challa, and I love her chemistry with Lupita. And she's just absolutely fantastic. She has some really good scenes. I think the casino scene and when they try to capture Claw, and she's actually fantastic in that sequence. And she's just a standout to me. She's just really a fantastic actress, and I loved her in this movie. Okay, and another standout to me, and another thing, I think I said it in my other review, but the female characters in this movie, I really absolutely love the female characters, and I love the actresses, and I love their performances, and I love the way they were written. I thought they were just fantastic. That's one of the strengths of this movie, the female characters in this movie. I think they did a great job with them. And of course, another standout for me is Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri. She's T'Challa's kid sister, who's in charge of the technology, and she's actually fantastic. She's funny, sarcastic, and I love how she kids her big brother T'Challa, and they have a great relationship. And I love the way it plays out. And Letitia Wright as Shuri is absolutely fantastic. I love her. She has great chemistry with all the characters she interacts with, and she's just a standout to me. And I absolutely loved her character. It just really was a standout to me. Again, her, Letitia Wright as Shuri, Danny Guerrero as Okea, and Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia. They were strong women, and I love their portrayals in this movie. This is one of the strengths of the movie to me. And of course, you have Angela Bassett in it. She plays Ramada, T'Challa's mother, of course. And I thought Angela Bassett's good in anything she does. Her role's not as big, but she's really good in what she does. And then Forrest Whitaker, who plays Zuri, he plays like a childhood friend of T'Challa's father. Okay, he plays a vital role. You know, he's the one that goes through the ceremony. You know, to take his, you know, you know, the ceremony. He's the one that performs the ceremony to give him, to officially make T'Challa the king. And he's a friend, also a friend of the father. Okay, and he plays a very important role actually when I get to it in a minute with T'Challa and the villain Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger. And speaking of Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger, he was a bit better than the normal villain. He actually had a plan and a reason to be mad. Okay, usually sometimes in the movies villains just to be villains, but he had a purpose and he didn't see himself as a villain. Okay, which is kind of, I know sometimes it's hard to pull off when you have characters that are villains but they don't, and you try to understand their motivation. His motivation, you can understand it. And I talked about this with my brother too on the phone. You had people sympathizing with his character, which is, I think, is really a really good, interesting turn to take. You know, when you can sympathize with the villain, okay, you don't think he's just absolutely bat as crazy. When you actually understand his point of view, I think that's good writing. Although I think the execution of this, and let me basically tell you the basic plot of this movie. T'Challa ascending to the throne, and then he gets challenged by Eric Killmonger, who plays he basically is the nephew. Well, he would be the cousin of T'Challa, because they show a flashback sequence where T'Challa's father goes to America, and he meets Eric Killmonger's father, played by Sterling K. Brown, from This Is Us. He plays Nyong'o, the brother of the king, and T'Challa's father confronts him and said, "Listen, I understand you gave our technology away, okay, and you're going to be judged by that." And he basically tells him to come home, and then he finds out, Sterling K. Brown's character finds out that Forrest Whitaker's character, Zuri, he's actually been a spy, actually reporting back to T'Challa's father on his activities, and then there's a confrontation where basically Eric Killmonger's father gets killed by his brother, and then they keep that a secret, which I thought was kind of, and then they basically leave. They don't, and I thought that was kind of weak that Forrest Whitaker's character wouldn't tell the father after he killed his brother, but he did it to protect Forrest Whitaker's character, but you think he would have told him, "Listen, this guy has a son now. I mean, you killed him." And basically, T'Challa's father covered it up. So, and that's the driving force for Eric Killmonger's rage, that he was denied. He was denied to be Wakanda. He was over there with his father, of course, in America, and his father taught him about Wakanda and stuff, but he never got to go, and the father covered it up, that he was actually, Wakandan, and so that's why he got his mad on, because his father got killed and he got left behind. Okay, so he wants revenge, okay, on T'Challa, and then for basically leaving him behind. And he has a plan where he trains, I think Martin Freeman's character, Everett K. Ross, he explains that Eric Killmonger trained him to be a SEAL and stuff, and go on co-op missions and all that stuff. He trained, and his basic plan was to go back. He had a plan. He actually teamed up with Andy Serkis' character of Ulysses Claw. He teamed up with him, and after he got captured, he broke him out. And basically, his plan was to kill Claw literally and bring him back to Wakanda and say, "Listen, I did what T'Challa couldn't do. I got the guy who stole our technology, okay, and here he is, okay, and here he is, and I want a challenge for the throne." And that's what he does. He actually he teams up with Ulysses Claw, and then double crosses him because he has a greater plan, because he wants to challenge T'Challa for the throne. Okay, and see, that's what I'm talking about when say a villain has an actual purpose. He was also, like his father, mad that the Wakandan was by itself, that they said were other people in other parts of the world brothers, because Wakanda had spies all over the world, and they said, "Listen, while other people are suffering all over the world, you have all this technology and you're keeping it hidden." Okay, and his plan was to, once he took over the throne, he was going to give his spies these advanced weapons so they could take over. He said, "Listen, we got all these weapons. Why should our people suffer? Okay, when we can rule?" and that was his whole thrust of that. And of course, T'Challa challenged him, and they had a nice fight. And let's say you know, when they had the fights, they drained T'Challa of his Black Panther skills, and Michael B. Jordan, his character Eric Killmonger, was a SEAL and stuff, so he could fight and handle weapons and stuff. And he kicked T'Challa's ass and basically threw him over in the waterfall. And that was like a real emotional moment. And that was just insane. And of course, T'Challa, he would live, of course, he was gone for a little part of the movie. And then you see Winston Duke, who plays Makaba, who was a character who I love. I think they're the Eight Tribe. I forgot the name of it in the comic books, but he's in charge of that. And there's a sequence in the beginning of the movie where he challenges T'Challa before he becomes Black Panther, the king officially, and Black Panther T'Challa beats him. And then later in the movie, his people find T'Challa after he's been thrown in the waterfall and basically keep him alive. They keep him, frozen. And of course, they give him some of that blue magic gives that restores him, and then he goes back and challenges Michael B. Jordan to stop him from spreading the technology over the world and basically trying to take over the world. And it was, like I said, it was really good. Like I said, Michael B. Jordan was good. The only thing I didn't like, that final fight that they had between T'Challa and Michael B. Jordan, they had it down in like in the underground and in the subway thing, and they have these I forgot what they call these things, that these dampeners that would basically cancel out their Panther powers. Okay, and it would cancel out the technology. So every once in a while, you got to see them, fight with their real faces and stuff instead of covered up with the costumes and stuff. But to me, that fight, you couldn't see. I would have preferred their fight, because their fight originally started up above ground, and then they fell down into the subway and stuff. And they had a little fight avoiding the trains and stuff. But I thought it could have been better. I think it would have been a better fight, because I love the when Killmonger challenged T'Challa and they had that fight in the water, and I thought that was a better fight. And I think that fight underground with the trains and stuff was just too confined. I would have liked it better if it would have been more of an open space, and you got to actually see T'Challa. Even though T'Challa threw up the spear, then he grabbed it and stabbed him with it. And then of course, Killmonger, T'Challa was gonna, he could understood, because once he found out from Forrest Whitaker's character about how his father killed Eric Killmonger's father for him, and you could see T'Challa was conflicted about it. And so after the fight, and after he stabbed Eric Killmonger and he's dying, he said, "Listen, we can save you. I can take you, and they have advanced technology, and we can save you." And Eric Killmonger says, "No, I don't want to." He basically turns him down and says no. And he said, "I heard Wakanda was had the best sunset, so T'Challa takes him so he can see the sunset before he dies." And I thought that was a real touching moment in there. And again, Martin Freeman, I thought, was really good too. He had a small part, but he was funny. He teamed up with Letitia Wright, Suri, T'Challa's sister, to help. He helped with the final battle and stuff. And again, the technology in the whole world of Wakanda was very well done. I actually loved the way they presented it, and you definitely want to visit this world again. And I absolutely loved it. Again, my few flaws with this movie was, again, I think Ulysses Claw, he got killed off too early. I understand Eric Killmonger's plan was to bring Ulysses Claw back. That was his plan to challenge T'Challa. He had to bring Claw back literally and say, "Listen, I did something that T'Challa couldn't do, so by rite of passage I can challenge the king." So that's why he needed a dead Claw. But I thought Andy Serkis was killing his scene, so that's why I would have liked if this character would have been in the movie a little bit more. I understand from a narrative point of view, Killmonger had to kill him to bring him back, to execute his plan. But I would have liked to see Andy Serkis, because I thought he was absolutely outstanding in this movie. He was funny and just sarcastic and violent and just insane. And I kind of hated that he got killed off early. Not early, but he got killed the way that he got killed off. I hate it, because I like this character and I would love to see him in more. And I know in the comic books, Ulysses Claw is like one of the main villains of Black Panther. So we won't get that, unfortunately, because of him being dead, unless they bring him back, which they can do in comic book movies. But anyway, and also they had two after credit scenes. Basically, like I said before, Lupita Nyong'o's character Nakia wanted Wakanda to branch out into the world, and at the end, T'Challa, he said, you know what? Because of what happened with his uncle, with his cousin, I guess, with his cousin and his uncle, and everything that happened, he said, you know what? We are going to reach out. And so one of the after credit scenes, mid credit scenes, I guess, is he says, listen, we're going to go out into the world. And he basically buys buildings and he actually comes down with one of those bad, jets that they have, and in the schoolyard where his uncle lived and stuff, and they show the kids and stuff, and he tells his sister, listen, we're gonna expand out to the world. We're gonna reach out to the world. We're not gonna be hidden anymore. And I thought that was really nice the way they did that. And then the other after credit scene is Shuri, Black Panther's little sister. You see her, the little kids looking at somebody, and then you see it's the Winter Soldier. He comes out with, without his metal arm on it, and they have a nice little conversation. And he said this place has helped them and stuff. And they said, and I thought that was nice, a little Easter egg there with the Winter Soldier in there. I was hoping for Cat, but that's all. I'll take the Winter Soldier. So overall, again, this movie was fantastic. I loved it. Again, my few flaws with it. Again, it was a pretty long, about 2 hours and 14 minutes, but it didn't feel long to me. I wish Claw didn't get killed. I wish Claw didn't get killed. I liked the character. He was insane, and Andy Serkis was great. So I hated that he got killed, but I understand from a point of view. And the plot line of T'Challa's father killing his brother, even though he did it to defend Forrest Whitaker's character, I understand the way he did it, but the way he kind of covered it up, I thought that was kind of weak, because you think Forrest Whitaker's character would have told him after he killed his brother to protect him, listen, your brother has a kid, okay? But apparently, after he accidentally kills his brother, he leaves and forgets and doesn't even worry about the kids. So of course, Eric Killmonger's character has a man on to want revenge against T'Challa and T'Challa's father, who's dead now, T'Challa, because he killed his father and you denied him his birthright. Okay, so you can understand, but I thought that was kind of weak motivation that you think Forrest Whitaker's character would have told, because he was the spy with T'Challa's brother. He would have told him, listen, I know you accidentally killed your brother to save me, but he has a kid. Can we take him back to Wakanda? But nothing. They covered it up basically. And I thought it was kind of weak that they did. I mean, kind of, that's the motivation for Eric Killmonger. But I think I thought that was kind of weak that he wouldn't, because they present him T'Challa's father as this benevolent king and stuff. But I guess they had to give him a flaw. So I guess that was a flaw. But I thought it was kind of weak that he would leave the kid behind. That he would. Because I mean, he didn't kill him on purpose. He had to kill him to defend, Forrest Whitaker's character. So, like he killed him on purpose. He actually he was going to tell his brother to come back and be judged for giving up the vibranium to Claw. So, again, that's I think that was kind of weak that the father was, that he would forget about, and then he didn't tell anybody. Even the mother didn't know. When Eric Killmonger showed up, they thought he was just a pretender, a crazy pretender. They didn't know the backstory, even though T'Challa knew it. Once he found out, once he confronted Forrest Whitaker's character, and he admitted it, and then I just thought that was kind of weak that the father would do that. Because they showed him being this malevolent king, and then he did something so weak, like you would leave the kid there, you would not even bring the kid back to Wakanda. Okay, you just basically leave him there. You accidentally killed your brother, and you forget about it. I thought that was just I thought that was a weak plot point. Okay, I thought that was weak. Okay, that, and then the final fight between T'Challa and Eric Killmonger down in the subway there. I think that could have been better if it was in more of an open area. I think it was just kind of tight and confined, and it wasn't as spectacular as it could have been, because I think they could have had a better fight up in in a better area with more. I wanted to see them trade more blows. Exactly was what I wanted. Anyway, but I think the action sequence, especially when they were, they went to Korea to capture Ulysses Claw. I thought that sequence was great. And the Peter Nakanga, Danny Guerra, and Chadwick Boseworth, went there to capture Ulysses Claw. I thought that sequence was great. And then of course they run into Martin Freeman's Everett Ross's character, and he's doing an undercover mission trying to buy something from Andy Serkis's Ulysses Claw character. I thought that whole action sequence was absolutely fantastic. And again, I loved this movie. Again, it had a few flaws, but overall, I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, I know some people say that it wasn't enough action. It wasn't. I thought it was enough action for me, so I have no problems with it. Okay, I just thought that the motivation, not the motivation for Eric Hillmont, because I can understand his motivation, but the father's actions, T'Challa's father's action vis-a-vis his brother was weak. That he wouldn't take care of your brother's son after you accidentally killed him. Okay, I thought that was weak. That was weak. And then the fight, and at the end with T'Challa and Eric Killmonger, I think it'd have been a better fight. Okay, I think the first fight when he challenged him on the phone was a better fight. I thought that was great. And then when he picked him up and just threw him off the waterfall, I thought that was fantastic. You could see the heartbreak in his sister and his mother and the Peanut King and even Danny, Danny Guerrero. Also, another character I forgot to mention. I don't think I mentioned him too much in here. Daniel Kaluuya, who played Bakabi. He's the guy from Get Out, and he plays a good childhood friend of T'Challa. And to Claw, he wants Claw captured to it, and Chadwick Boseman's character T'Challa makes him a promise that either we'll kill him or
bring him back, and then of course he escapes. After he gets busted out by Eric Killmonger, so of course he's a little sore about that with T'Challa, and of course when Eric Killmonger comes to him, he gets his tribe to turn on T'Challa. Okay, and then they have the big sequence down between all the tribes and stuff. I thought that fight was great. I thought that fight was good. I just thought the fight with T'Challa and Eric Killmonger that started above ground but went below ground was sort of weak. Okay, but other than that, I love the performances and stuff in this, and I definitely highly recommend it. I'm going to see it again next week. I really enjoyed this movie, and I can't wait to explore more of this world. Can't wait for the sequel, which will definitely happen. But this movie, I enjoyed it a lot, and again, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie a lot, and I can't wait to see the sequel. Again, just a few flaws for me. Again, the motivation for the father, T'Challa's father, and the lying about it, I thought that was weak for such a benevolent king. I thought that made no sense. I mean, maybe they did it to show that he had flaws, but I thought that was weak. And then the fight with Eric Killmonger at the end was below in the subway. I thought that was not much of a fight. I mean, not that great a fight. Okay, but other than that, I enjoyed it a lot. So definitely recommend it. 8 out of 10. Anyway, let me know what you think of Black Panther. What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. Again, this is spoilers review, so feel free to speak. I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram in the description box, as well as my main channel, Trade Passer, and you can see my spoiler-free review if you follow the link. But at this point, if you've been sticking around this long, you already know everything, so maybe you don't want to see that. But the link is in the description, so you can check that out as well. And this is Paul saying so long and take care.